Welcome, welcome, welcome online, ladies and gentlemen. We're just setting up for today's event. We're actually live streaming into 74 different countries. We're going to put on a timer just for those that have just joined us to check and see if those you've invited are online as well. So once this timer finishes, do us a favor in the meantime, type in where you're watching us from in the chat. Alrighty, so ladies and gentlemen, some people don't speak fluent English. So as we get this session underway, if you are on YouTube right now, you can actually watch closed captions by adjusting the bottom of the screen. The same holds true here in the Zoom room. So have a quick listen to this.
Por favor, vaya a la parte inferior de la pantalla en Zoom o YouTube y haga clic en subtítulos para leer en español.
Kérlek, menj a képernyő aljára, a Zoomon vagy a YouTube-on, a Closed Caption részre, és ott el tudod olvasni magyarul a feliratot.
Silakan klik di layar bawah pada Zoom atau YouTube dan klik caption untuk membaca dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Pour les sous-titres en français, veuillez cliquer au bas de votre écran Zoom ou YouTube sur CC ou Closed Captions.
Zoom または YouTube の画面の下部に移動し、字幕をクリックして日本語で読んでください。
請到屏幕底部點閱隱藏字幕以閱讀中文。
Παρακαλώ πηγαίνετε στο κάτω μέρος της οθόνης, στο Zoom ή στο YouTube και κάντε κλικ στους υπόλοιπους για να τα διαβάσετε στα ελληνικά.
請到屏幕底部點擊隱藏字幕以閱讀中文.
אנא עברו לתחתית המסך בזום וביוטיוב ולחצו על תרגום לכתוביות בעברית.
Proszę zejść na dół ekranu na Zoomie lub YouTubie i kliknąć napis.
Por favor, vaya a la parte inferior de la pantalla en
And that was a repeat.
y haga clic en subtítulos para leer en español.
2 seconds. Oh, got it. Fabulous. Technology is wonderful when it works. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome online. My name is Michael Firth, one of founding Field Advisory Board members with Neumi, and it is my pleasure to be your MC today to introduce you to our founder. Now, if you don't know, Steve Scott. Steve was behind the Total Gym with multi-billion dollars in sales, and many other successful infomercial successes around the world. I love the fact that through this model, we're getting into 74 different countries around the world, and your opportunity today is to meet our founder up close and personal and get to feel for the heart and integrity driving this organization. So with that in mind, please join me in welcoming Steve Scott.
First of all, Michael, my apologies for brushing you off when you called me. I was doing a live video on Facebook. Of course, you didn't know that. And I'm in the middle of teaching I'm starting a new little short series of short videos called What Did Jesus Say? And because a lot of people don't know what he said. And so I was in the middle of doing that live and my phone starts to ring and it's hidden under things in my office. So it's ringing, I'm talking, I'm teaching, it keeps ringing. I can't find it. I finally find it. And there's Michael to remind me that we're now into this. So let me, after apologizing to Mike, because I was real short, it wasn't that I was trying to be mad or anything. I just had to get back to the context of what I was teaching. Now, let me apologize to you because there have been mixed messaging. I had asked that all my video, all my Zoom calls in general Zoom calls, which we normally have on Thursday night. We have Zoom calls to Europe on Wednesday at noon normally. And I let people know that I wanted to cancel this week, next week, and the following week because I'm going to Europe and I need to prepare for that. And, but that message got partially out. So we have an abbreviated number of people on this call now because everybody I knew, I told I won't be doing that tonight's call this week. At the same time, we didn't say that in the back office. I guess in the back office it said I would be. And so here I am. And I apologize for the mixed messaging. Normally, we don't have mixed messaging. Next week, we fly to Ryan and his wife, myself, and my wife, Shannon. We go to Europe. We're doing events in a couple of different cities and different countries. And then on May 9th, I'm going to be meeting with a man I've been talking to. Last night at 1:30 in the morning, I was talking to him. I talk to him a couple times a week right now, but a brilliant scientist. And I can't wait to be with him. His name is Sotiris Nikolopoulos. He joined our medical board. All of our medical board and scientific board serves for free because they've seen the amazing outcomes with our product. And he's been seeing them. He is a genetic scientist and molecular biologist. He looks at small molecules. He looks at the cell, what's going on in the cell, what genes are overexpressing, what genes are underexpressing. Because guess what? That impacts everything. It impacts how healthy you are, how sick you are, will you recover, how long will it take to recover? All of that is highly influenced by your genetic expressions. And so we'll be talking about what he is seeing with us. And let me just tell you, it's been great news. He and I have been talking about it every week since he joined our board, actually before he joined our board. And so I'll be meeting with him. We're just excited. So Shannon and I'll be there, and then we're going to Poland for meetings. We'll be actually having meetings in Greece as well. And so I'm really looking forward to the trip, but I am not prepared. You'd think I'd have a little time to prepare, except today I set up a meeting in Los Angeles with a world-renowned doctor in a particular field. He's going to be blown away by what he hears and what he sees, and I can't wait to meet with him. I've heard all about him, and I'm very, very excited about meeting with him. And then, so there goes my Friday, because I leave on an early morning flight and I get back home 10 at night. Well, that gives me Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But now they're Monday and Tuesday are filling up with meetings. I'm sure, why you want to say, poor Steve, he's always working. Well, you know why I'm working? Because I have a purpose. People ask me, how does a 76-year-old, soon to be 77, go all over the world, work a full schedule, and not poop out? Well, number one, of course, I have a product that sustains me. And number two, I have a purpose. And when you're purpose driven, time flies and you don't even realize how hard you're working until the end of the day. And you think, gee, I'm tired. Why am I falling asleep? And I want you to know, Neumi has a purpose. It has a legacy. We are a legacy company. Everybody claims, well, what is a legacy company? A legacy company offers services or products that are life-changing, because when you change one life, you change a family. When you change a family, you change generations. And that's what we do. We're all about human performance, human health. As a supplement and a topical spray, we don't treat, prevent, cure, diagnose any disease states. That's what doctors do and drugs do. We have products that are truly life-changing, though, not only for people, but for our four-legged friends. And there have been over 2,000 athletic horses on Neumi, and it changes their life. It changes how fast they recover from their event, from their exercise, from their workouts. It does so many things that veterinarians have done a 6-month study of thousands of pages. It hasn't been published yet. It's been accepted for publication, and we'll let you know when it's published. But it's pretty remarkable, the things that are revealed in that study. So who are we? What do we do? I'm noticing some new names, so I'll tell you real quick. Glutathione, which is what I focus on, And what is our foundational products are glutathione based. Glutathione is the most important molecule in life. There'd be no life on Earth without it. No plants, no trees, no birds, no fish, no people, no doggies, no horsies, nothing. Everything disappears. We're a brown planet with a blue atmosphere if we don't have glutathione. It performs over 400 functions in the human body. We know of 400. It probably produces way more than that. The problem is our glutathione levels decline as we age by about anywhere from 8 to 15% per decade. So if you're 50, starting at the age of 20, so if you're 50, that's 30, 40, 50, 3 times 15. You may have 45% less glutathione now than you had at the age of 20. And yet glutathione performs all these critical functions, defensive and offensive functions, that the desperate need for those functions never declines. But if the supply of glutathione declines, which it does, it's like you're fighting a war without bullets. And that's a hard way to fight a battle. Glutathione is the first line of defense for every cell in your body in a lot of ways. For example, glutathione is the sole protector of your immune cells. Now think about that. And what they found, this is all in the medical literature, is that if you have lower levels of glutathione, your T cells and B cells, which are the assassins that target the virus or bacteria invading your body, they target it with the intention of killing it. But if you have low levels while the bacteria or virus is rapidly reproducing, your T cells are producing slowly, too slow. And the virus or bacteria wins. You get sick. You may take longer to recover. You may die because those T cells aren't reproducing fast enough to keep up with the bacteria or virus. That, of course, happened in the pandemic. On the other hand, if you have high levels of glutathione, your T cells and B cells can reproduce explosively, catch up to the bacteria or viral reproduction and destroy it. Search and destroy. Usually those are military terms, but that's what your T cells do. They search out the bacteria and virus and they target them to kill them. They're assassins. So the immune system, that's just one of 400 functions. Another one, detoxification. Everybody on this call has at least 200 industrial chemicals. You may have a lot more, but when the CDC did their test, they tested for 2,000 adults, different ages, different geographies, different demographics, 2,000 adults, and they tested them for 217 industrial chemicals out of the 100,000 that are in our environment. Guess what? To their shock and horror, every single person had all 217. That's not good. Well, glutathione is the detoxifier of the cell. It has this real sticky sulfhydryl molecule that sticks to the chemical and gets it out of the cell. It also is the chelator of the cell. We all have heavy metals. Arsenic, cadmium, mercury are some of the heavy metals that are in our environment. Our water, our groundwater, the water we drink, the air we breathe. They can break the mitochondrial DNA just like the toxins can. And when the mitochondrial DNA is broken from either the chemical contaminants or heavy metals or free radicals, which we'll talk about in a minute, the cell is then at risk for what's the word I'm looking for? I'm having a COVID moment. It's very distracting. My screen has pop-ups that keep coming on and distracting me. The cell can mutate and multiply, better known as cancer, because these things break the mitochondrial DNA. As long as your mitochondrial DNA remains intact, the cell can't mutate. And the protector of the mitochondrial DNA is glutathione, and the way it protects it is number one, it detoxifies the cell. It's toxic load that is responsible for about 95% of the breakage. Secondarily to that is free radical damage. Now, what is free radical? A free radical is a scavenger, and it's caused by oxidative stress. And the free radical attacks the cell. Now, every cell in your body, you have 37 trillion of them, is attacked 10 to 20,000 times a day by free radicals. And the free radical wants to steal an electron from the cell. And when it steals that electron, it creates oxidative stress, which in turn creates inflammation, our mortal enemy. Inflammation is behind the onset and progression of nearly every disease. It accelerates the aging of the cell. Do you want your brain cells to age faster or slower? How about your heart? How about your liver, your kidneys, your muscles, your joints? We want to slow down accelerated aging. We don't want to speed it up. Well, glutathione is the key to that. And because oxidative stress, which glutathione is the primary mitigation for oxidative stress, oxidative stress creates that. Oxidative stress also creates more free radicals. So free radicals create oxidative stress. Oxidative stress creates more free radicals. Boy, it's hard to do this backwards. There you go. And so it's a vicious cycle. Well, the cells look for the right antioxidant to fight oxidative stress. The way an antioxidant does that, it donates one of its electrons to the free radical. When that donation takes place, it sequesters or captures, neutralizes the free radical, so it can't do the damage. Well, there's a whole spectrum of free radicals, different sources, different chemical compositions, different structures. Some are sourced from the hydrogen in your body, some are sourced from the oxygen, some are sourced from the nitrogen, and all antioxidants are monofocused. That means that, for example, vitamin C can take out this type of free radical, but it leaves all these bad boys. Superoxide dismutase, catalase, CoQ10, vitamin E, vitamins, and so on. Glutathione, on the other hand, is called the master antioxidant because unlike all the others that can only deal with one type each of the free radicals, glutathione sequesters and neutralizes all free radicals, regardless of their source structure or their chemical composition. Now, one free radical that is really bad these days, and we're all subject to it. Ta-da! This is receiving microwaves from a 5G tower. Guess what? They don't stop with the phone. They enter your body. And once they enter your body, that's not in itself not super bad, but they react with the nitrogen in your body, and that produces the free radical peroxynitrite. It lives 1 billion times longer than the oxygen-based free radicals, so long it can transfer from one cell to the other. And guess what it does? It attacks the mitochondrial DNA. When the mitochondrial DNA is broken, the cell is at risk for mutating and multiplying cancer. And so glutathione is, for example, is the only antioxidant that can neutralize peroxynitrite. Now, glutathione is the most abundant antioxidant in your body. It's produced by every single cell. All of those cells of yours are working around the clock to keep you healthy and alive. They have more functions, more systems than the most every cell than the most complex machine ever built by mankind. The Saturn V rocket and lunar system that launched our men to the moon and then brought them home safely. That whole system is so complex. It took 35,000 engineers 8 years to design. Every cell in your body is almost infinitely more complex than the Saturn V system. And it has systems working within that are coordinated. They are linked together either through covalent bonds or non-covalent bonding. And millions and millions and trillions of things going on inside that cell, all in an organized fashion. What does that say? That says we had a pretty cool creator. We've all been created by, not by chance, I'm sorry. The Bible says the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. And I agree with that statement. Hope that doesn't offend anybody. If it does, I'm sorry. But I have to tell the truth. The truth is, if it took 35,000 engineers 8 years to design something that wasn't as complex as the human cell, somebody had to design the human cell. By the way, Michael's going to show you what it looks like. This is a computerized recreation of a cross-section of the cell. Now, those things aren't just stationary. They're interacting with one another. And this isn't showing your DNA. It's not showing the electrons, neutrons, and all the other things that are below the vision of a microscope. Now, all of those are attacked, like we said, 10 to 20,000 times a day by free radicals. You want to know what that's like? Let's show them what 20,000 looks like. Here we go. So this is 20,000 people in the Chicago Bulls arena. Now, your cell would be represented, if you went center court and you were the only person on the center court, and the announcer said, okay, $1 million to every one of you who can land a blow to that guy in the middle, or now the guy that has the red line. And you don't have to kill him, punch him hard, just hit him, make contact with that guy. You wouldn't have a chance. It's you against 20,000 people. And if we look at what that looks like for 5 days, look at what that looks like. This is 100,000 people. Here we go. That's 100,000 people. So 100,000 people against you. No chance at all. That's what your cell has to deal with in 5 days. So the key is its antioxidant defense. Glutathione is 1,000,000 times more powerful and broad in its range of effect than all the other antioxidants combined. So it is critical in that area. The problem is, like I said, glutathione declines as we age. So why don't we go buy glutathione capsules? We can get them at any health food store. The problem is, as soon as the glutathione hits your stomach, it breaks. And your cells won't accept a broken molecule, thankfully. So it's useless. Now, some manufacturers wrap those molecules in fats or lipids. Now, that can get through the stomach sometimes, but what happens if I take a molecule that is this big and I wrap it in a fat? Now, how big is the particle? Your average human cell is only 100 nanometers. A strand of your hair is 80,000 nanometers thick in diameter. A cell is only 100 nanometers, not 100,000, 100. And the pore in the cell is only 10 nanometers. So you have something that's 50, 500, 1,000 nanometers. It cannot get in the cell. So it relies on what's called forced diffusion to force it, the different forces that come upon the cell, to try to get some of that to penetrate the cytoplasm. Not very successful, not very efficient, not very effective. What we did, we found a way. We said, let's not even go through the stomach. Yes, we get some stuff through the stomach, but what happens if we get absorbed in the mucosa, under the tongue, in the venous cavity, in the mucosa inside your cheeks? We get right into the bloodstream, but to do that, you have to be smaller than 100 nanometers. Now you're in the blood. What is it going to take to get in the cell? You have to be under 10 nanometers. Once you're in the cell and you get into that pore, now you're in the cell instead of sitting on top. Liposomal sits on top. We are called direct infusion because we actually get into the cell. And the results are amazing. I knew if we really had this down when we created it in 2018, we would make a huge change in human performance. And what's the best way to test human performance? Let's test athletic performance. So I gave it to some athletes. They were blown away by what they saw, and we're going to look at one of them right now. This is Bill Gillespie. Bill was strength and conditioning coach for the Seattle Seahawks. And then to fulfill his promise to the man that gave him his college education, he later went to Liberty University and was strength and conditioning coach for their football team for 14 years. Now, when Bill was, he's an amateur weightlifter. He's drug tested whenever he wins. And he's been an amateur weightlifter since he was 14 years old. Now, at 49, here's what happened. Pretty cool. At 49, that's that peak there. He successfully bench pressed 804 pounds. That's about, I think that's about 350 kilos or so, and maybe 360. And then that was in 2008. In 2018, his lift was down to 725 pounds. Oops. Here we go. We're playing musical slides. Let's get back to where we were. In 2000, okay, here we go. 2018, he was about 700 pounds bench pressing, and that was a record for a 59-year-old, but he couldn't compete with the elite guys anymore. And that bothered him. We sent him the product, told him how to use it, swish it like a mouthwash. It's going to lower the oxidative stress. That's going to change everything. Did it? Well, here's what happened in the years that followed. In the remainder of 2018, at 59, he benched 915 pounds. At 60-year-olds, his bench press went to 1,050. And at 62, his retirement meet, he bench pressed 1,129.8 pounds. That's 512 kilos. And how does their strength, how does their lifting go up 40% while they're aging? 40% from their prime. When he was 49, he lifted 800 pounds. At 62, he lifted 1,129 pounds. That's a 40% increase. The answer is reduce oxidative stress. If we reduce oxidative stress, everything changes for the good. And that's what we did. How did we get to that point? Well, we don't wrap our molecules in lipids. We have reorganized water molecules forming a matrix, and that water matrix encapsulates our molecules, not to get them through the stomach because it's water, but to get them absorbed into the bloodstream. Our particle size is small enough for direct absorption very quickly. And from the time we get into the bloodstream to the time we get out of the bloodstream is only 70 seconds. Now, one of our athletes was in a 100-mile bike race, breaking all of her records. When she got in an accident, went end over end, hit the pavement, broke her helmet, knocked her out. She woke up in the hospital. Her face hit the pavement at 23 miles an hour, 22, 23. And the plastic surgeon in the hospital told her it was going to take 5 weeks for all the abrasions and road rash and everything to clear. And then she waits 60 days, goes in so they could create a protocol for the scars. Well, she gets home on Tuesday night. The rep was on Saturday. And she thinks, hey, this stuff is different. Maybe it'll help my skin. So she applies some to a cotton ball and puts it on all the affected areas of her face. And then she does that 3 times on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. By Sunday, her face was completely clear. Not a mark, not a scar, nothing. The plastic surgeon had never seen anything like it. When I saw the before and afters, I thought, my goodness, we may have the world's most effective skincare. Now, I've owned 5 cosmetic companies. I've sold hundreds of millions of dollars of skincare. And I can tell you that what I didn't like about skincare, even if you had a great product, it was hard to get good before and afters. I also had hair care with Cher, easy, good before and afters. I had makeup with Kathy Lee Gifford, Ali McGraw, Lisa Hartman, Meredith Baxter Burney, and other stars. It's really hard to get before and afters, Christy Brinkley even. And but when I saw what happened with this cyclist's face, I went ahead and put some in spray bottles and sent them out to a few people and said, spray your face 5 times a day for 8 weeks. This is what the first picture that came back in 7 weeks. This is Sherry Warner. She was 59 years old. And look at that. Now, nothing else touched her face. No other products, no lasering, no Botox, nothing. When I sent that to my former formulator, who was the head formulator for Allergan, who created Botox, he said, Steve, she's had a facelift. No topical product can do that. I said, John, ours does. And I said, she lives on a farm, works on a farm, owns a farm. She's out in the sun. She has never put anything on her face. He said, well, then this product is truly amazing. It's different than anything in the world. I said, I know. So we're going to show you some before and afters. Then we're going to call it an early night so I could go home and get ready for my trip. Now, I sprayed my right hand, but didn't spray my left hand. And I did that 4 to 5 times a day for 12 weeks. Look at the difference. Unbelievable. This lady's 84 years old. I said, how often did you spray your face? She said, I had spray bottles all over the house. And anytime I passed one, I pop the lid and spray my face and go on with my activity. Well, look at that. And she also swished. Look at that. That's in, let's go back. This is in 4 weeks. She looked like she dropped 20 years. Look at her neck. Look at her chin, her mouth, everything changed. Next. Okay, this is another 80-plus-year-old, 84. And she said, I had old lady legs, so I sprayed them throughout the day, and they became young lady legs. Pretty amazing. Next. That's a esthetician in Miami, Florida, owns a skincare salon. She said, Steve, where did my pores go? Look at how smooth and bright. Look how it opened up my eyes. And she says, nothing does this. I said, I know. Next. Okay, now this is a 60-year-old, and that's after 1 month, and that's almost a facelift type effect. But look what happened after 6 months. Now, we met her, Aaron and I met her. She came to our office when she was 60, and she looked like the picture on the right. We would have guessed she was somewhere between 42 and 45 years old. And, okay, next. There you see it side by side. What a difference. So we brighten, tighten, smooth, and just give a younger look. This man's 67 years old. Look at the difference in 6 weeks. Next. Okay, that's just water storage improved. Next. Okay, now this is a young woman, but look how it really minimized the appearance of her pores. Look at how even her skin tone is. I mean, nothing else can do that. Makeup has a hard time doing that. She's 80 there. And that was 3 weeks. Look at the difference. Look at the eyes, the mouth. She's 65. That was 8 weeks. She's a smoker, and that's what kills the skin is smoking, one of the things. And yet 8 weeks, she looked different. So that's 6 days. That's pretty remarkable. Next. I'm going to show just a few. She's in Nigeria. Her daughter's a doctor and gave her the product. 4 weeks. Look at the melon. The darkness in the upper half of her face is from poor melon management in the skin, and that's been her plague most of her life. But look what happened. 4 weeks, and the melon production has been pretty much normalized. Look how much better. Next, we're just going to show a few more. Next, you can kind of see that. Okay. This guy's 94 years old, and I love what he said. He said, I like the new look, but better than the new look, I like that I feel like the guy on the right, not the guy on the left. 94 years old. Next. This is my favorite. She's in Hungary. She's 87, and she said, I did what the other lady did. I sprayed 5 times a day for 7 weeks. Do you see the difference? Oh, my gosh. She looked like she dropped 20 years. And I was in Hungary last year. Was it? Yeah, last year. It was September. And wow, what a story. Okay, why do we show you that? Okay, he's 85 in Canada. We show you that for 2 reasons. Number one, we have the world's best skincare. Here's how hard it is to apply. Now, I used to sell skincare kits that had 5, 6 products in them. That's it. That's how long it takes to do your skincare. And you do it 4 or 5 times a day. It won't cause the makeup to run. You don't have to rub it in or anything. It just sits on and absorbs into the skin. To absorb into the skin, To get through the epidermis, you have to be at least no larger than 10 nanometers, which once again, that's our sweet spot. So the other thing, the reason we show you those before and afters is because the same biochemical activity is happening in your brain cells, your heart cells, your liver cells, your kidney cells, pancreas, you name it. We're getting that same biochemical activity that helps arrest and mitigate oxidative stress that creates all the bad things, the inflammation, the accelerated aging, and so on. So put it all together and nobody has what we have. We have a medical board. Michael, if you want to bring that up, we'll just show that real quick and brag about our guys. These guys all serve for free.
Give me a
maybe
second. Caught me off guard.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. You caught me off guard today.
On its way. Give me a few seconds. Here we go.
There we go.
Got it. All right.
Here it comes. There we go. So this is part of our medical board. You can go to Neumi. You can search Neumi Medical Board on Google, and these guys come up. Here we go. And everybody volunteers. So this guy on the left, he's brought over 200 therapies, cancer therapies, and cardiovascular therapies to the world during his career. He was on the Stanford heart transplant team, brilliant scientist and a great friend. And he would tell you this is one of the greatest breakthroughs he's ever seen. Annie Varghese is an incredible cardiologist with offices in Dubai, 5 clinics in Houston. And she graduated close to #1, if not #1, from Texas Heart Institute. Brilliant cardiologist. Her comment to me was, if every cardiologist in the world knew what I know about your product, every heart patient and every diabetic patient in the world would be on the product. Now, we don't cure, prevent, diagnose, or treat any disease state. We're a supplement and a topical spray. But we are giving glutathione into the cells, and guess what? The cells are doing it themselves. We're just, give a hammer to a carpenter, and guess what? Something's going to happen. He's going to produce something, right? Give him hammer and nails, and now you got a house. And give your cell more glutathione, and it's going to do what it was designed to do. Okay, let's go down a little bit further. There you have Thomas Redner created the pain management program for Harvard Medical School. James Ho has practices in Orange County and Beijing. He's a professor at the Beijing Medical College there. This new one is Dr. Nikolopoulos, a brilliant cellular genetic chemist and biologist. And he's the one I talk to nearly at least 2 times a week. And he tells me what he's seeing genetically, and it has been amazing. He's blown away. He said, quote, "Steve, this is so much bigger than you can imagine. You're not even scratching the surface for the potential of your hydrostat delivery and your glutathione." So all of that, and talk to the person who invited you to this call. They'll tell you more. We hope you'll join us. You're the only way we can get to the world. Right now, we're in 75 countries, but we want to get to tens of millions of people in those countries, and we need you to do it. So thank you for joining us. And Michael, I'll hand it back to you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Steve. I'm dying to find out what the 75th country is because I thought it was 74. So that's awesome. But guys, we're right around the world and we are live streaming right now on YouTube. So if you want to play this back, we'll be taking that YouTube in a minute and putting it in the Neumi New You official Facebook group, which means you can play it back for friends as well. So if you're not in that group,